Hey there fellows, Buddy's Bike here. So, after about 1,000 hours in different flight sims, I finally had my first flight, my first flying lesson, and it was just a spectacular experience. And in this video, I wanted to discuss how did it feel transitioning from a flight sim to the real life. And I want to talk about what things I felt different, how my experience in flight sims helped. So, enjoy the video, fellas. So I'm just about to reach 500 hours in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and in DCS, the Steam version, I had a little less than 400 hours and a few hundred hours in the non-Steam version. And of course, if you want to count, you can count about more than 100 hours in VTOL VR, but I think most of you just consider it a game, but I would say it's a simulator. So that's me on the left, and what I was flying was Daimond DV20. And it's just a beautiful aircraft. I always wanted to fly with a stick, and to be honest, I don't like the yoke that much. And this aircraft has a stick and a trim function on the stick itself, so trimming the aircraft was just a breeze. And then, as you can see, it's actually an international airport, so I'm training at an international airport. So one of the best things transitioning from hours in flight sim to the real thing was that I knew most of the gauges, how they work and how to scan them, and it's just like with a glance I could recognize my altitude, my rate of climb, my speed, and I knew what speeds I needed to be and what speeds the flaps can be activated, and there are like a lot of things that I felt really comfortable with. Now, as a first flight, I was surprised to have this much amount of control. But I was happy that I actually got to fly the plane and not just sat there. And as a first flight, it was quite overwhelming. I actually had to learn a lot. But if I did not have any flight sim experience in the past, I felt like it would have been even more overwhelming, and everything would have been even newer than my current situation. I even have the DV20 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I had the same airport, so it really helped. Now, the thing that really got me off guard was the turbulence. Okay, as you can see, the conditions of the flight were not ideal, but I did not know how the turbulence is gonna feel, and it kind of did scare me a little bit. Okay, I won't be I won't lie to you. It just a little bit, not that much. And I could feel how the air is just responding to the turbulence. But the good thing is the airplane still wanted to fly straight. That's what I was hoping for. It felt like the turbulence is going to take the airplane somewhere else, but the airplane still flies straight. And speaking of the control surfaces, how they react to my control input was this stick was almost as in the flight sim. The thing that I felt most difficult was the rudder input. The rudder inputs for this aircraft felt a bit difficult because you turn the aircraft by braking one of the wheels, which is really different from anything that I have experienced in the past, like driving a car or riding a motorcycle. And it was a little tricky to get turning the aircraft at slow speeds. Now in the flight sim, I just gotta apply rudder and the plane just turns so smoothly. So this is the biggest difference that I felt, that taxiing using braking and turning was the most different thing that I felt, and it was something that I need to get used to, because during taxi I couldn't manage to take sharp turns when I needed to, and but I think practice is gonna make things better. And one more thing was keeping on the taxi line. I could not properly recognize when I am actually straight on the taxi line and when I'm off center. So this is something that I felt like I needed some work on. And one of the reasons why you're not hearing any audio communications is because it was most of the instructors speaking. So I was thinking when I get to solo and when I'm the one speaking to the air traffic control, and then I will also include all the radio communications, and you'll get to hear that. Now, another difference with the flight simulators and the real life was it was a hot day, and there was a moment where even started to sweat. But then when you start to get in the air, the temperature drops, and the temperature became fine when I started to get in the air. And then then another difference was the vibrations. The plane actually vibrates more than I expected, especially at low RPMs. But when you increase the RPM, it starts to become smooth. So the plane really, I mean, you can really feel when you're increasing and decreasing the RPM. That was something significant the difference that I felt. And then when reading the checklist, this is the first time I actually was reading the checklist, because whenever, like mostly when I'm flying the flight simulators, I fly quite casually, just for fun, and I don't really follow procedures, except for 1 or 2 times when I was trying the VAT sim. That time I was trying to do things the right way, even that not 100% the right way. So when I was following the checklist, I knew half of the things where they are located with the help of flight sims, but rest of the half I kind of did need a little bit of help. About half of the gauges I knew where the needle should be, and about half of them I had to learn from the instructor. In many different areas, some things I knew, some things I had to learn. And so another thing that really helped me, which I think the other students struggle with, is the trimming of the aircraft. I have my roommate. He was saying he couldn't understand the trim, and I managed to understand trim really well, because I think the first aircraft I started to trim in the flight simulator was the Su-33. In the beginning, I got really pissed. I mean, I was like, why do you have to trim planes and all that? And but then it took time to learn how to trim the Su-33, and then once I was done with it, it's like you kind of get used to it. And this aircraft that I was flying has digital trim, I mean electronic trim. So it's not a wheel or anything. It's a switch on the joystick, and you can see your trim level in front of you, and it's a really handy thing. I'd say this is like the best system for trimming, and it was just really easy to trim. And the instructor did test me how well I trimmed the aircraft, and I would like to think I did it well. I feel like when taking off, it is just that one moment where I felt a little bit scared when the plane actually started to fly so high so quickly. And this is something that was like a really new feeling. You know, actually going in the air for the first time ever. I mean, I have been a passenger in the commercial jets, but that's totally different, you know. This was a really new experience, and you can really feel like you're really high up in the air. So this is something I would say I couldn't feel in the flight simulator, of course. Now, there's something I wanted to check in the real life flying, is that adverse yaw when you're rolling. In the flight simulator, the adverse yaw was not that prominent for this aircraft, and I wanted to test this in this aircraft, and you know what? It was not that prominent in this aircraft as well. I It's like I didn't really need to apply that much rudder in order to keep the ball center when rolling the aircraft. As you can see, I'm just rolling, and the ball is pretty much in the center, which is a pretty much coordinated turn. So maybe in order to make a better turn, I need to apply a bit of yaw. This is something I think I need to speak to the instructor further down the line. Now, one of the things that I feel like really helped, the flight simulator really helped me, was lining up with the runway. You see, the turn that I'm making is lining up for the runway, and I was controlling pretty much, and I think I managed to line up with the runway quite well. And I have like a formula that if you make a straight line from the end of the runway towards you, the start of the runway should be in that line, and that means you're pretty much aligned. At some of the points in the landing, the instructor did assist, and I needed assistance because I couldn't manage the speed as efficiently I was supposed to. So, and after touchdown, I was assisted with the rudder control because I was still not that good with the rudder control. So overall, it was a spectacular experience. I want to know from you guys that what kind of videos do you want to see in the future? Do you want to see more real life videos, or do you want me to just stick with flight sim videos? As always, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Buddy Spike.